All right, some breaking news now coming into the newsroom. The suspected Saudi-led coalition airstrikes have now led to at least 15 people being killed in Yemen's capital of Sana'a. The strike is part of an air campaign by the Western-backed coalition on the Iran-allied Houthi rebels. It has escalated the situation since the Houthis crushed an uprising just last week led by the former president Ali Abdullah Saleh and killed him. Again, developing news now coming in. Let's go straight to our correspondent who covers West Asia and the Middle East, Daniele Pagani, joining us live now from the international desk. Daniele, what are your sources picking up at this hour?
There are conflicting figures. You quoted what is now the most certain figures, which is 15 people have been killed. There are some saying as many as 30 people have been killed. It is also not very clear what was the location of this airstrike. Some say it was a training field, some say it was a portion of a compound within the city of Sana'a. Very difficult to get information from the ground. Remember that Yemen is under a full blockade. It's impossible to be on the ground for any media organization. So we all have to rely from data provided by sources on the ground, open sources, and the Houthi rebels themselves, who normally tends to downplay the number of casualties when it comes to airstrikes against them. This, as you correctly pointed out, is one of the first outcomes of what will eventually keep going on in Yemen after the former president of the country, Saleh, was killed by the Houthi rebels just a week ago.
Daniele, when it comes to this, there's always been a lot of conflict in the region. At this point, what are some of the implications of this going forward? Any relief in sight? This has certainly been going on, and as you mentioned, conflicting reports emerging. I mean, what next at this point?
I'm afraid that when it comes to Yemen, there is really no relief in sight. Saudi Arabia and the coalition that Saudi Arabia is leading has made it very clear they do not intend to stop fighting against the Houthi rebels. They do not intend to ease the blockade. Remember, Yemen is under a full blockade of all sea, land and airports, so it's impossible or very difficult to access even for humanitarian agencies. And there is no credible interlocutor on the ground for the Saudi-led coalition. The only one was the former president Saleh, who was before with the Houthi rebels. Then he reached out to the Saudi, reason for which the Houthi rebels killed. So there is nothing on the horizon but war. And obviously, as you're very much aware, the civilian population bears the heaviest brunt of this blockade. Cholera outbreak is hitting very hard, more than 1 million cases, and especially children are suffering, and humanitarian agencies are not able to access constantly and consistently Yemen. Therefore, whatever reaches lasts for only a few days.